Hey, this is Math Minutes Pro with Dr. Harrison. Today we're going to take a look at circles, and in particular we're going to solve problems that involved inscribed angles, chords, and tangents. So let's build a little vocabulary before we get started. Now, this angle right here, angle DEF, is considered an inscribed angle. Why? Because we have two chords that form an angle. A chord is a line segment whose endpoints are on the edges of the circle, and we have a vertex on the edge of the circle. That is your definition of an inscribed angle. An angle formed by, or you can say two lines, or two line segments rather, right? Whose endpoints are on the edges of the circle, forming a vertex on the edge of the circle. Now, a tangent line is formed by a line drawn outside of the circle such that we have the line intersecting one point on the circle. Now, in this case, this is a line, but it's a ray because we have an endpoint and a line that keeps going. This is your tangent line, which is ray BA. This also is a tangent line. It is a line drawn outside of the circle, intersecting the circle at one point. That point is C here, that point is A there. And then, of course, we have two chords. Again, definition of a chord is a line drawn in a circle whose endpoints are on the edges of the circle. We have two chords in that case, line segment TP and line segment AS. All right, now that we've gone over that, let's solve some problems. We're going to solve three problems involving inscribed angles, or an inscribed angle, two tangent lines, and two chords. So let's first start off with what helps us understand the relationship between this angle, angle DEF, and the arc DF. So what we know is that the measure of angle DEF, that's the measure of that angle, is equal to 1/2 times the measure of arc DF. This angle is equal to half of that arc, and that arc DF right there is equal to 90 degrees. So we say if arc DF equals 90 degrees, and that's what's given, say what? Well, I'm not going to say what. I think I'm going to write it a different way. I'm going to say find the measure of angle DEF. This is the angle we want to find in question. I always say mark up the picture based on what's given and what you know. You're looking to find the measure of this angle here. Let me use a different color. Measure angle DEF. I want to find that angle. Okay, so let's look at what we know. We're going to follow this equation. The measure of angle DEF is equal to 1/2 the measure of angle of arc DF. So then let's substitute. This is our math underneath. The measure of angle DEF equals 1/2. And what is the measure of arc DF? 90 degrees. Okay, I'll just erase that and try to make that look a little cleaner. All right, times 90 degrees. So in that case, we know that half of 90 is 45. Therefore, that's what that means. Therefore, the measure of angle DEF F equals 45 degrees. Very good. So let's go ahead and solve a problem now where involving two tangent lines. So there is an equation that expresses a relationship between this angle formed by two tangent lines, angle ABC, and this is called arc ADC, which is a major arc, and arc AC, which is a minor arc. Remember, the degrees in a circle are 360 degrees. So now, it's for the problem, it says if the measure of angle ABC is equal to 1/2 the measure, running out of space, so I'm going to abbreviate. So I'm going to say the measure of arc ADC minus arc AC. So the measure of angle ABC is equal to the measure of arc ADC, which is the major arc, minus the measure of arc AC, which is the minor arc. If this is true, then find the measure of angle ABC, or angle B. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and figure this out. Well, we already know what arc AC is. That's 130 degrees. We need to find the measure of arc ADC, the major arc. Well, if this arc is 130 degrees, then 360 minus 130 means that the measure of arc ADC, there you go, that means arc ADC is equal to 230 degrees. 360 minus 130 is 230 degrees. So we know that is the information that we need. So I'm going to write that over here, that this major arc is 230 degrees. Mark up the picture based on what's given and what you understand. It helps to reduce cognitive overload. All right, now let's prepare to do our work. So we're going to say the measure, we're finding the measure of ABC, angle ABC is equal to 1/2. Arc ADC is 230 minus arc AC, which is 130. Following this formula or equation here. So then what do we get? We get 1/2 times 100. 230 minus 130 is 100. Therefore, when we take half of 100, we get 50. Therefore, using that again, the measure of angle ABC equals 50 degrees, which is half of 100. So we found the measure of angle ABC in the case where you have two tangent lines. Now, last problem, let's solve a problem involving chords. So we know that these two angles here are vertical angles, they're equal. I always say think about this. In this geometry problem, you always want to think about what you know about the picture. But let's start, we're given an equation again. If the measure, a little too close. The measure of angle TCA, that's TCA, if the measure of angle TCA, well, let me rewrite that. The measure of angle TCA equals 1/2 of the quantity of the measure of, and this is TCA right here, 1/2 of the arc intercepted, right, or by these two chords, including the angle. So that's 80 degrees plus 50 degrees, both of those arcs. So we have two chords that form the angle TCA. And what we do is we say that that angle TCA is equal to half of the arc formed by the angle in question, which is 50 degrees, plus the arc formed by the vertical angle that is equal to angle TCA, which is 80 degrees. So when you add that up, all right, let's go ahead and do the math. So it says, here's the problem. If, let's see, the measure of arc TA, if the measure of arc TA equals 50 degrees, and I'm going to make this M look a little different so it doesn't look like a capital, and the measure of arc SP equals 80 degrees, equals 80 degrees. Okay. Then find the measure of angle TCA. Find the measure of angle TCA. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our math. So the measure of angle TCA, this is the angle that we're looking for. I'm going to mark that up here. So the measure of angle TCA, following this formula, equals 1/2 of 80 plus 50. And I think what I want to do, instead of writing 80 plus 50 here, I'm going to write the letters. All right, so the measure of angle TCA is equal to arc TA plus arc SP. There we go. That's our equation. We're following that and substituting. So then we get 1/2 times 130, 50 plus 80. And then that means that the measure, keep doing that, make that M look better. There you go. The measure of angle TCA equals half of 130, which is 65 degrees. 65 plus 65 is 130. And that is how you solve a problem with respect to a circle involving two chords. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page on my video description below. On my Patreon page, you can get access to exclusive math lessons, study tips, live Q&A, and more. See you next time.